What's up, YouTube? This is Royal Spartan 125 back for another quick reaction. This is another scary, well, it'll be scary for me. 10 zombie movies that broke all the rules. Okay, now if you've seen any of my like zombie reaction things before, you know that this stuff scares me like nothing else. I don't know why, but zombies really scare me. Way more than anything else. Okay, if you like my reaction to this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell and it will notify you next time I release another video. Yeah. And I will leave links in the description to this video and to the channel, which is WhatCulture. And let's jump in.
Good old zombie movies are a dime a dozen, and that mostly boils down to the fact they can be made incredibly cheaply. Take a look in any bargain bin, and for every B-movie you find, there's a solid ratio of them that'll be leaning in the favour of undead atrocities. So in order to be noticed in the world of brain-biting bother, you either need to be a massive release with millions of dollars of marketing, or do something different that makes your film stand out from the mounting corpses. It's hard, but not impossible, and as such, I have a whole host of horrible treats for you that manage to break free of the bog-standard zombie formula and deliver flesh-rotting terror in genre-defying form. Films that don't just follow trends or add in a charming gimmick like zombie strippers, but really care about their titty-twisting undead and do something new with them along the way. These movies take the rulebook and rip it to shreds, and offer some of the most unique, entertaining, and special films in the entire genre in the process. I am the recently reanimated Ash from WhatCulture Horror. Oh my god, that is still very exciting to say. And these are 10 zombie movies that broke all the rules. 10. Warm bodies. Romances in zombie films tend to be survivors that end up in an enclosed space, fending off the dead and forming a connection. Yet Warm Bodies goes for something completely different. Here, we have a survivor fall in love with a corpse that recently ate her boyfriend instead. Yes, you did hear that right. Our main zombie R has his heart suddenly start beating again due to the almighty power of love, and slowly starts to return to humanity. He ends up tagging along with his love interest, crafting a heartfelt and rule-breaking rom-com. If it's
Sorry, seen this one. That's pretty good, it's okay. But it wasn't really scary. That's what I liked about it. I'll put it back.
tagging along with his love interest, crafting a heartfelt and rule-breaking rom-com. If it sounds stupid, then you may be surprised to see just how well the film makes these ideas work, as the characters are super likeable and the film as a whole just oozes fun. There are also a ton of great gags as the zombie attempts to pass itself as human, wrapped up in an infinitely charming script. Warm Bodies has gotten a lot more attention over time than it did when initially released, and deserves to be watched for its special, funny take on romantic comedy with that wholesome undead flair. 9. Anna and the Apocalypse. Anna and the Apocalypse is a Christmas-themed zombie movie to give filmgoers a brain-boggling story to watch during the festive period. And on top of that, it is also a full-blown musical. Yes, this is just as daft as it sounds, but the movie is just the right amount of stupid and knows exactly what it wants to do. There are plenty of big song sequences, including an early show-stopping number that has Anna singing and dancing through the scenes of carnage unfolding around her as the zombie outbreak begins. It satisfies gorehounds too, with many blood-soaked showdowns with the living dead, whilst also keeping the tone light and bouncy to prepare for any of the superbly choreographed show tunes. The characters are a hoot, the songs are great, and it is one of the freshest films featuring the undead in a long time that goes against so much of what one expects from a zombie film. It's not for everyone, but for those looking for a brand new take on the genre, they need look no further. Who would have thought the apocalypse could be this fun? 8.
Haven't seen that one. Don't really want to. Musicals aren't my thing.
It Stains the Sands Red. In zombie films, audiences have gotten used to almost always having the shambling undead coming in hordes. In the case of films like World War Z or Train to Busan, they come in literal seas of bodies, clawing and scratching in waves to get their next meal. It Stains the Sands Red decides to do the opposite and has our lone star pursued by a single, persistent zombie for its entire runtime. The zombie she names Smalls never sleeps, tires, or stops its pursuit. And to top it off, the protagonist Molly is in a massive desert without provisions in the sweltering heat. The film comes up with some ingenious ways to hold your interest with such a thin premise, and the results are often as hilarious as they are blood-soaked. Brittany Allen manages to carry the entire film as she squeezes the maximum amount of chemistry you could ever have between a human and a decomposing cadaver hell-bent on eating her. It Stains the Sands Red is a must-see for zombie film enthusiasts as it strips back the genre to its most basic terms and delivers a funny, unpredictable romp through the desert. 7. Fido. In this 1950s styled world, zombies have been repurposed to perform tasks using collars that control them, and are essentially pets to many families. Fido gives viewers a peek into a strange world wholly its own, and is a welcome change to the hundreds of rundown apocalyptic cities moviegoers have gotten used to. One zombie, Fido, has his collar malfunction, and hijinks ensue as a small outbreak occurs in a small town used to their zombies being big toys. The plot is great, with a ton of hilarious moments and parody sneaking in. And just to make things all the better, Fido himself is played by the legendary Billy Connolly. You never know what is going to happen next with a concept so fresh, and the script is surprisingly smart for what at first glance seems like a silly zombie spoof. Fido is a hilarious take on the genre with sharp satire and laugh-out-loud gags that almost all film lovers will enjoy, be they fans of this particular genre or not. 6.
I haven't seen that one, but I'd heard of it before. I forgot about it until now. I love Billy Connolly. I think he's a great comedian. If you haven't checked him out, do so. Fantastic. Fantastic comedian.
6. Life After Beth. In Life After Beth, Dane DeHaan's girlfriend dies, but that doesn't mean that she's gone forever. DeHaan is over the moon to discover she is resurrected and seems to be doing just fine. But as with all things too good to be true, that soon changes, as Beth slowly begins to transform into a zombie over time. The film follows the slow descent of Beth's mind as she grows further into a terrifying zombie state, and we watch her powerless boyfriend unable to do anything about it. A pretty dark concept for a comedy film, but it works due to the actor's ability to wring out the laughs from a script that focuses on the awkward funny side of becoming a brain-dead cannibal. Aubrey Plaza fully commits to the role and has some hilarious moments of physical comedy as she gets to grips with having superhuman strength and eating people. Life After Beth doesn't always work the way it should, and it can struggle to maintain a consistent tone, but it offers an entertaining, unique take on the Z formula, and the charming cast of characters definitely elevates the concept. 5.
I've not seen that one either. Don't know if I want to. Zombieland, seen it, love it. Seen the second one. First one was better, but still. Glad they made the second one. Definitely. Here's hoping for a third. I doubt it, but who knows.
Zombieland. By 2009, the zombie market was just about dead. But like any good plot about zombies, Zombieland suddenly burst onto the scene and resurrected the genre, limping and groaning into the land of the living. The film follows the trials and tribulations of Columbus, who has a long set of rules on surviving the apocalypse, quaintly nicknamed after the title. Essentially a road trip movie that has zombies, the film goes against the rules of the genre by pointing out how silly a lot of the actions taken in them are, and then throwing it all to hell and taking them anyway. The film never sways into overly meta territory, with a smart script filled with surprises and one of the best cameo appearances in cinema history. Zombieland came out of nowhere to inject some life into a genre that was oversaturated for years, with a focus on having fun and going all out with its unique visual and narrative style. Ironically, it broke all the rules by laying them out for people literally on screen. 4. Paranorman. If there's one thing that Laika knows how to do well, it is a dark fantasy that carefully treads a line between spectacular imagery and nightmare fuel. Paranorman is no exception, and follows a boy born with the ability to communicate with the dead. Eventually, he accidentally causes the deceased to rise from their graves, and naturally, pandemonium ensues. The film is terrific in keeping the tone light despite the often dark subject matter, and doesn't shy away from surprisingly thought-provoking questions about what comes after we all kick the bucket. Fully embracing the morbid curiosity children have of death and the afterlife, it is a sweetly heartwarming tale for those who grew up loving horror from a young age. The gorgeous stop-motion animation is also a joy to behold, with the rotting corpses looking suitably gruesome and chilling for a family movie. In a genre defined by death and gore, Paranorman gave zombie fans something new and heartfelt to enjoy no matter what age they may be. 3. Pontypool. Pontypool takes a page from Orson Welles' War of the Worlds by having its fearful situation portrayed mostly through audio in a believable way. As a radio host is drip-fed stories of the ongoing apocalypse on air to the world. That is, until the dead come knocking on the studio door themselves. In this incarnation, the disease is not spread specifically through bites, but via speaking in English instead, lending itself to some of the film's humorous moments, as well as holding your attention as you wonder how our cast will survive such a difficult predicament. Many zombie films like to have their scares as one-note jumps, with the biting, gnashing teeth of the undead threatening our heroes. This film flips that idea on its head with a deliberately held-back style to enforce psychological fear. There are few films really like Pontypool, as it goes against the established mould to deliver a compelling, slow-building horror with plenty of new inventive twists and rules to add to the genre. 2. The Returned. Zombie films like to have their universes overrun by the Walking Dead and humans struggling to survive to the end credits due to said dead wanting to feast on their flesh. The Returned adds a clever spin on the formula by having a world that has managed to control the virus, and instead, it is the humans that our survivors must run from and fight. The zombies in this universe, named the Returned, must take a drug every 36 hours to stave off infection and remain human. When this wonder drug starts running out though, people go mad with panic and decide they must kill or return to keep themselves safe before they turn. Following a man who secretly was once a zombie, he must now survive not only people recently turning back into zombies, but also the humans out to get him. And on top of that, he has to find a new dose of the cure to prevent him from becoming one himself. That is one hell of a tough situation, and the suspense is high, with all of these factors playing against our hero and clashing in incredible fashion. 1. Shaun of the Dead. Could it really be anything else? Shaun of the Dead isn't just a zombie film that broke genre conventions. To many, it is one of the greatest zombie films ever made. Following a recently dumped loser Shaun and his freeloading best friend Ed, the film goes against type by having completely relatable characters go through a zombie outbreak who are completely unfit to survive it. There are a ton of memorable set pieces, scores of instantly quotable lines, and due to the characters' aimless and ever-changing plans, the film goes anywhere but the usual direction that you'd expect from a zombie film. The film is also filled to the brim with horror references, a multi-layered script that rewards repeat viewings, and for a comedy, the film gets intensely emotional towards the end due to how brilliantly written the characters are. Shaun of the Dead is a highly intelligent, hilarious, and exceptional love letter to the genre that is a must-see for everyone. And that's our list.
Okay, that's the end of the video. I actually enjoyed that one. There were kind of some hairy moments with the zombies. But yeah, if you like my reactions, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, it helps me grow. And join me on Twitch sometime. Yeah, I stream on there. And until the next video, I am out of here.